What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And Chris Abacon.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? So welcome to the new format. For those who are watching us, nothing changed in the audio. So come watch our faces, because we're doing it different. You get to see our faces in a different aspect ratio. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Look out for us on your social media platforms of choice. So we're trying to branch out because we have clips that fit on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and all that other good stuff, Reels, Instagram. This platform does a lot of really cool things, so look for more of that. And then on top of it, now you can read about our content. I'm starting to do like a blog on LinkedIn. It's going to stay on LinkedIn for now because it's easier to embed the video and audio. But in the future, it may branch out to other places. But now you can read, you can watch, and you can listen to us. So we're hitting all the things when it comes to checking us out. With that being said, this is Friday episode, so if you've not already, please go back and check us out for episode 541. You can hear us speak about and discuss the FBI as well as our allies shut down Lockbit, at least for now. Check out 542 for this week, which would be Tuesday, where we discuss the big China leak, where we're finding out how they are able to disrupt their neighbors, as well as some of the tools that they have at their disposal when it comes to breaking MFA and things of that nature. And then on Wednesday's discussions, which would be 543, I think I got that right, you can check us out as we have a discussion about how the pharmaceutical industry, or the health industry in general, when it comes to pharmaceuticals, was kind of shut down. There was a nationwide disruption, and it impacted United Health, CVS, Walgreens, Publix, GoodRx, the DoD. People couldn't get their medicine. They couldn't get their life-saving medicine as well as their Viagra's. So, mass chaos.
Which in some cases could be life-saving. If the marriage falls apart, like...
big facts there.
I joke, like, there's more important drugs as well. But I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with vitamin V too. Hey, listen. You do you. Be happy. Be safe. Be secure. And then on Thursday, please check out Matthew Hill. I had him on the show. He's really a really unique individual. I had a detailed conversation about his website and his activity books about Black history. So it's called We Gonna Learn Today. Is the website. He has one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Black history website. He has interactive books and games and activities. He does all the coding and scripting himself. The man is a retired Marine veteran. It's a disabled veteran small business, and he is doing great things out there in the community. I put it on the leap day because we got an extra day in Black History Month. Check us out. 29 days this month. And it was a really good conversation. Please check that one out. He's very talented. He's very knowledgeable. He threw around some history I didn't know just right off the top of his head. I had to go research it. One, because the show notes. I had to make sure I got all the names right. But two, because it's fascinating. Like, there's so much history that is American history that just it doesn't come up enough. And now Friday, everything else. So movies, books, games, all that good stuff. And this is the longest intro I've ever done. So without further ado, how was your guys' week? And I'll ask Chris, how was your week?
My week was pretty good, honestly. So remember last week we started up the MCU. So last week we saw the Incredible Hulk. I may have mentioned we saw Iron Man 2, but we did. So for this week we mentioned and said we watched Iron Man 2 and Thor. So we're getting through the MCU slowly but surely. It was interesting. I felt like Iron Man 2. I remember we did talk about Mickey Rourke last time, but Iron Man 2 was pretty decent. But again, there were like those plot holes and everything. But then Thor, it was it felt more like its own. That's where when it slowed down. I think the MCU slowed down for me, and I actually started liking it. With Thor, bringing in more of the cosmic realm, bringing in more of the the outside influences and everything, and
Wait till
it
you
was
get to
really interesting until you get to the Dark World. Those were my movies, and then we resubscribed back into BritBox. We love British TV, so we've been watching a lot of detective shows and things like that. We watched them. We're big into like these whodunits. It's kind of lame, but
No,
whodunits.
I'm down for it. I'm down because my intro to that was the Columbo. It was the the Magnum PI, things of that nature.
So us, we're big into the Agatha Christie, the Agatha Christie world, like Poirot. We got Miss Marples and all that stuff. So, but we watch a lot of the British TV. There's a show called Death in Paradise. It's based in a fake Caribbean island. It's amazing. It's British people. There's a British detective. The premise is a British detective. He works with the local. In this case, it's called Saint Martin.
It's a real place.
Yeah, it is a real place. Or is it Saint? It's another saint. It's not a real island. It's based in that same area, but they work with the local police, and it's a British guy with British humor working with the Caribbean police force. And it's pretty entertaining because it's a culture clash and all that.
Right. It's what's called it? What is it called? Appropriation. Get out of their country.
Yeah. Yeah,
solve their own cases.
So I think this specific, I can't remember the name of the country, but this specific fake country was colonized by France first, and then it was colonized by the Brits, henceforth why the Brits are over there, helping, they're subjects of Her Majesty, or were at one point, Her Majesty. And either way, it's a pretty interesting show. The crimes are definitely, it's just nice to see, hey, they're in the freaking paradise and there's just murders everywhere. It's great.
Right. Tropical paradise and people just getting offed.
Like, hey,
enjoy it.
This island has less than 500 people. I don't know how many. This island has less than, 1 million people. And, there's a murder every week.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
I blame the colonization. Maybe if you had stayed off the island, they'd be more peaceful. You brought your war.
That's right.
and your smallpox.
And then that's pretty much it for TV. From a personal perspective, we've been making a lot of bread. We've been making sourdough bread and things like that.
The pandemic is over in quotation marks. You still out here?
But it's
doing hobbies.
We're doing hobbies still, but it just tastes better.
Okay,
it just tastes better.
I bet. So how long does it last though? Because you're obviously you're not doing big bread like.
Yeah, we're doing like loaves, standard size loaves, and they last.
I mean, like the organization, like Big Bread, like big pharma. Like you're not doing big bread. You're not putting in those GMOs and nonsense. So how long does real bread last?
So it lasts probably like 4, 5, 6 days on the counter. So it's not bad. I mean, it'll last, and when it's fresh like that, it just tastes so much better. And
you probably like devour it.
It's delicious. It's delicious. But that's my week. Pretty light. Still studying for. I'm probably gonna take my Azure exam at some point. I finished all my Udemy courses, and I'm.
Is that free, or did you have to pay for the courses you're currently taking?
Oh, the Udemy. So the Udemy courses, I just pay for the yearly subscriction. So I paid once. It's like $200 for the year. But to me, it's like it's something to always listen to when you're interested in a topic. They have everything from like learning how to Python, Excel, or even public speaking. They've got topics about everything. So I do recommend Udemy. It's kind of like, LinkedIn Learning's got that, but you do need to pay for premium. But I think Udemy's got I think it's a more mature course list.
Gotcha. Now, LinkedIn cracked down on the renewing your military subscription, so I no longer have premium.
Yeah.
Quick question before we flip over to Shannon. What does your hat mean? Do I need to blur that?
No. So the hat means earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It's a finance joke. So someone should. EBITDA is actually the bottom line. So whenever a CEO or somebody talks about, hey, executives only care about this. This is like
Okay.
earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization.
Okay.
It's a finance thing. So
Got you. So speaking of finance, like I get a lot of connection requests on LinkedIn from people who are in finance. Is it because I'm a veteran and they think that I have disposable income to do something with? Or is it because of the show and they think I'm making some kind of money off of it, which I'm not? Why are these finance people connecting with me on LinkedIn all of a sudden? It used to be certifications. Now it's finance people. Like, what is happening?
I think it's financial advisors. Is that what it
At
is?
least 3 or 4 a week. And if I accept the connection, immediately they follow up with, "Hey, let me sell you something," or "Hey, can you get on my calendar?"
I
Like,
think they're trying to. I think they're trying to go after the minority audience that you. I don't want to say cater to, but that you're trying to get information out to. It's one of those things where,
gotcha.
like historically, minorities are not too much into that space. You know what I mean? So that's probably what it
Gotcha.
is. They're going for an audience we're trying to get at right now. Especially if they're trying to sell you something as soon as you get on. They're like, hey, sell this. And then you
Soon
can
as
get
I
on the
get
show
on.
and then talk. But then you get on the show and talk about it. Hey, I did this, that, and the third. And that's that publicity.
I
Gotcha.
wish I learned about IRAs, Roth IRAs, HSAs, and all those things when I was like 18. Didn't care about. Like it's like
Said it's the Pythagorean theorem. No, teach me how to balance a checkbook.
I think that it's also just like I think it's part of I didn't grow up with that level of education. Parents never harp on. You want to make sure you're matching your 401. Make sure you're putting at least 6%, buddy, because you're gonna get that 401k match. We never got that education. So it's just it's but as long as you start at some point in your life, you're good. I think.
All right. Without further ado, bring it over here to Shannon.
All right, now that we cleared up these audio issues. So my week was kind of light too, man. I rewatched the movie The Flash. It kept popping up whenever I would go to Max, and I was like, hey, it's in my list. Let me go ahead and watch it again. And I still like it. I know there was a lot of people that were like, the movie wasn't that great, but I think it's because they don't like Ezra Miller. So, but for me, I was like,
Ezra Miller gets away with way too much. Like, man, whatever. We'll get there later.
And here's the thing: I'm not condoning anything he did. This cult he tried to start and physical assault. Like, I'm not for that. But like for me, and we've talked about this on the show before. Like, I can separate the two, like what you do in your personal life and what you do as an actor, like pretending to be someone else. I can separate the two, but I still thought it was good as I watched it again, and I was just like, man, Michael Keaton, probably still the best Batman. Like, you know what I mean?
He's still my favorite Batman. Like, obviously Christian Bale's up there too, but yeah, Michael Keaton, because it's also childhood nostalgia. Like, I had him on VHS. He was my Batman until the George Clooney.
No, I just think he did a good job. Like, Michael Keaton is versatile too. Like, if you look at his career and the things that he's done, you're like, man, like this dude has done it all. He's been a hero. He's been a villain because in the Spider-Man series, he's a villain. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he does it all. But no, it was a good thing to watch. I continued watching the series Superstore. I'm hooked on that, man. It's funny to me, and I've been running through that pretty good. I started to watch, and I didn't even get through the first episode yet, just because of time, not because I didn't like it. But the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender. Have you guys seen this?
I've heard good things about it.
It's starting out really good. It is starting out really good. A live action on Netflix, Avatar: The Last Airbender. So they're not calling him Aang. His name is Aang. Right? So that's the first change from who was it? Was it M. Night Shyamalan that did the movie?
Yeah.
Good. It's starting out really good. I'm just like, wow. And like the fighting in it, like it's like the animated series. You get a lot of fighting in there and everything too. And I'm just like, okay, I'm down. That's my thing. I know there's a story to tell. I get it. But
I'm gonna check it out. I feel like a poser though. I didn't watch the cartoon.
I watched some of it. I didn't watch it all the way through, but I had seen a good bit of episodes. And the way it's starting off,
I've seen just enough to be kind of aware. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's not Naruto good, but it's good.
Right. And don't come for me, audience. I did call it a cartoon because it's not an anime. It was not made in Japan.
That's
it was made in the U.S. All right. There's a distinction. It's still a good cartoon, but you're not going to call it an anime. You're not going to judge me for calling it a cartoon. I said it. Brant.
Here's what you need to know. So if the viewership goes down on this episode, you'll know what did it. That was the moment. Like
That was the breaking point.
that's what it was.
You
But
can't
no,
take the slander.
it's pretty
Now, if
good
you
though.
call an anime a cartoon, then you'd have zero. You'd have zero viewers.
Right, because I'm a big anime fan, right? I'm not do
Exactly.
Castlevania on Netflix. That's not an anime. That's a cartoon. It's really good. Don't get me wrong, anime inspired, but that's it. I'm done with my rant now. What
But
else
it's
did you get
good.
into, Shannon? Because that's a good one. I'm going to check that one out because I didn't even know it was out yet.
It's recent because I want to say earlier in the week, last week, I don't think it was out. I think it was a coming soon like trailer thing. I don't think there was any episodes out there, so I'd have to look and see when it came out. But again, I haven't even got through the first episode, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna continue with this because it's pretty good, and it's live action. And like watching the animated series, like if you watch the animated series and you watch the one on Netflix, I'm like, man, they seem to have done a very good job in casting on this thing, man. Like it could all be AI. Like I'm thinking it's good. Like it could all be AI, and I'm like, man, y'all fooled me. Y'all got it down now. Like, but
no, good stuff. And speaking of AI, how impressed were you with Sora? Like, so early in the week, I sent you guys the video. I think Chris was already on it because LinkedIn's been talking about it a lot because it's disruptive. But I told Shannon, I warned you before I showed you. I wish I just sent it to you first.
I could not pick up, like you were talking about, like the hand stuff and that. Like if I wasn't looking for it because you said it, I probably wouldn't have noticed it. Like it's crazy.
Except for the legs thing. When the lady was walking down the street, I don't know if you see it. It does this weird thing where it cartwheels her legs every so many frames. It's like it's a weird optical illusion. I think it's
with the purple lights or whatever when she's walking down the street. I didn't notice,
but only because somebody told me to look for it. Like it's the only reason I noticed it. Like, but like the dogs in the snow with the real physics with the snow, I'm like, yo, it's
the most realistic.
Coming for our jobs.
That was the most realistic. The puppies in the snow, and I even said that. Like when I sent it back to you, I was like, that looked like very real. Like if my dogs were back in the backyard where it snowed out here in Colorado, that's what it would look like. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's.
Did you guys
amazing.
see that recent article about Tyler Perry halting production of his studio in Atlanta area?
Yes,
because he did mention AI being one of the reasons. I found that to be super interesting.
So I saw it, but go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
You go first.
So I saw it, but I think the reason for it is I think he just wants to scale it down. So like the scale of what this studio was going to be that he was going to continue with, I just don't think all of that is necessary in this day and age. Like you're still going to have people for certain things. Like maybe the studio can be scaled down to just make it like a what do you call it? Not like a production. I'm trying to distinguish the difference here. Not a production studio where you have people going around and everything, but more like what am I trying to say? Like creating like CGI. You know what I mean? And AI and things of that nature. Like you require less space for that. You may have a larger server farm, you know what I mean, to make that happen, but you're not going to require as much space for people actually walking around, building sets and things of that nature. I think that's what he's going to do because I think it did, like he did give the reason as seeing the AI. He was like, this is totally different from what he had heard about it, and it was totally different from what he thought it was going to be because it was, I mean, it's amazing what's out there right now. But I don't think he's going to stop it altogether. It was just like they mentioned how many studios it was going to be, the square footage and all that, and the amount of money. And I was like, he'll just pare it down.
So and that's why I was going to kind of also go that route because I don't know if you guys have seen the virtual studios they're making now. So like NVIDIA not NVIDIA. I'm sure NVIDIA is involved in it somehow, but Unreal. So if you've seen, like, Epic makes Unreal. So Unreal is an engine that's used for gaming, but it's also used for film. So a lot of films are using Unreal tools to make virtual sets where the actors are able to interact with a green screen that has images in the forward background, and they can see the camera moving. It's ridiculous. Like, I'll send you a video of what they can do in it, and a lot more studios are using that. So I was thinking in my head that he's just going to consolidate. I don't need as many sets when I can have a few of these virtual sets as opposed to the other one. But also the smaller jobs like writing. Like right now we're using AI. Like all this stuff is being captured by the platform. and then it's going to give me AI generated show notes. It's going to give me what it believes to be the best clips for me to pare down and change. And then it also changed the aspect ratio depending upon the specific social media platform I'm trying to post it to. That was all somebody else's job. I would have to go and find either an intern or go to Fiverr and pay for it. And now it's all baked into the tool. It's going to be disruptive. It's going to change the industry. A lot of these side hustles are going to get hit and they're going to have to pivot. You're going to have to become an AI prompt guru so that way you can make better content than I can make. So then I pay you again. Because right now I just pop that, like I take the show notes, I pop it into Copilot and I say, hey, I'm sorry, I take the transcript. So I take the transcript from the clips, I stick it into Copilot and I say, hey, help me to write a LinkedIn post promoting this clip. And it's done in seconds. That used to be me sitting here trying to scribble in my notepad, figuring it out. I ain't got to do that no more. I don't have to make concise show notes anymore. It even breaks it down by chapter. I think I sent that to you guys, where I can now take all that. It just gives me the show notes with the chapters. I stick it in the YouTube and I'm done. That used to take me 15, 20, 30 minutes sometimes.
Our AI overlords that'll be here in 6 months will appreciate that from you.
I appreciate that. I could be their human prompt, the mayor of one of their cities as they take over.
AI run cities. That's the future. AI run, AI built cities, AI designed roads, AI designed schools, AI everything.
Make it more efficient. Take all the human knowledge that we have on the internet and make this better. I think that is definitely the future, and it's no longer a fad or a buzzword. Speaking of which, I got to share with you guys some content. So as a content creator and a cybersecurity thought leader, I've had him on the show, I want to say a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, Alan Wesley. Like, this dude is doing some amazing things with AI, and you have to see it. Like, he told me he told me he was using AI to generate episodes. And I was like, that's interesting. And I finally saw it where he's able to put everything in the prompts or whatever. It has his face, his lips are moving. It goes to his co-hosts, which are not real people. It's crazy. He'll be back on the show. I think we record next week.
You should do an episode where, hey, you just AI generate us. You plug in this episode into whatever AI and just make an AI episode. Hey, have us talking about sports.
So my kids do dabble in the TikToks, even though I tell them that not to. I don't restrict them from TikTok watching. They don't generate stuff. They just absorb it. But what I saw, the trend is to have a video. So you'll have the talking head, the person talking about whatever they're talking about, and then another video underneath it or above it or whatever arrangement that has someone doing something. They're either building something, they're making something, there's video game footage, whatever. It's for me, it is a visual audio nightmare because I don't want to see these two things. But for whatever reason, their generation has ADHD. They have to see someone doing something while they're doing something else. They have to be distracted. It's weird. I want to create the episode in the future, right, when Sora's out there in the world, and make it like generate this episode in an anime. And it just has us like fighting Dragon Ball Z style. Talking about the episode, like my imagination is just running wild. I can't wait for this to be real, so I can then use it. And then the people who make drone footage and all that other stuff, like the B-roll footage, man, your days are numbered.
You're done, bro.
Your
B-roll,
days
you're
are
done.
numbered. So you got to find a new hustle.
With this Dragon Ball thing, is it going to be like, we're talking about something, and then at the end of the episode, it's like Kamehame MFA. Like, what are we?
I want it happening while we're talking about it. Like you have us on the top talking, and then underneath it, it's AI generated a episode of us fighting while talking about it or something like that. Like at the same time, real time. That's what I want.
I love it.
That's how you bring the people in. You give them what they want. I don't know, but that I believe like AI is not a fad anymore. Like everybody was like, it's a fad. We're going to stop talking about it. Like everybody's sick of hearing the word AI on everything. Like legitimately in 1 week, I made the leap of 1 year. Like all this stuff that I'm generating the past week, all the different articles, like Like Shannon's not on LinkedIn like that. Ask Chris. Chris has seen a lot of posts from me, and that is just me using the same amount of time I would have used to. And I'm gonna be hard on myself. Be kind of lazy. I do the bare minimum to get it out because there's a lot of work to generate 5 episodes every week, 2 recording sessions. And I do just what needs to be done to get it out there. In that same amount of time, I was able to do 10 times more. It's crazy. Like even stuff I wasn't even thinking about doing. I was like, now I'm burning new time because of it. Because I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could do this. I wonder if I could do that. Like AI, man. It's amazing.
It's it. AI is him.
It really is. It really is. It's crazy. So my week. So first the PSA, like, share, subscribe. Look for us on social medias, the other side of the FW or Ask Us SP, everywhere, pretty much. Look me up personally on LinkedIn. Look for the articles and the new blog, which I did it last week and plan on doing it this week. 2024, I plan to maximum effort, right? I want to see what happens if I use all these new tools on a consistent basis every week for the rest of the year. So that's my pledge to the audience. I want to see what happens with the podcast. Not to say I'm going to stop after like 2025. I'm not doing it no more, but I just want to see, like, again, like, I feel like I'm doing. It feels like I'm doing 10 times the amount of things in the same amount of time. So I'm very excited. So we'll see how this year goes through, and then. Outside of that, what I've been doing is playing Helldivers 2. I'm addicted. This game is amazing. I don't know if you guys have seen videos of it. It is basically Starship Troopers, the video game. It's everything I always wanted. It's hilarious. It's fun. It's not pay to win, because I hate games of a service. Said the word hate. I do not like them. I don't give it to me for free and then charge me money to play it adequately. Like, this was $40 as a budget title. It was so budget I bought it twice. I bought mine for the PS5, and then Junior liked it, and I got it for him on Steam, so that way we could play together. So $80 for that experience, not bad. And then everything in it, you can give it money if you want to, but it doesn't necessarily unlock things faster. It's weird. You can cut down some of the grind. You don't have to find, like, you can find all the currency, you can find all the things by playing the missions. You can cut down a little bit of the currency, but you still have to play to unlock things. So you can't just pay to unlock things. You can pay for the privilege of not having to find the money scattered around the map. But I've been finding the money. Like, they're not stingy with it. I've been finding it. So I don't even have to give them, it's like $10. If I give them $10, they give me 1,000 credits. Or I can just play for 10 days probably, and I'm going to find 1,000 credits anyway. So I'm fine with that. And it's just hilarious. Even when you lose, you still win because it's funny. You're fighting the bugs, Starship Trooper style, or you're fighting the robots, Terminator style. And both are fun. It's easy to jump in. They fixed a lot of the network issues because people couldn't get in because it was so packed. So now they've opened the cap up to 700,000 concurrent players can play at the same time. That's a lot of people. Sony has a hit on their hands. I'm just saying.
That doesn't seem like enough.
Final Fantasy VII.
That doesn't seem like enough. 700,000? Isn't it really?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Because usually you get 1 million people, but you don't get them at the same time. It's spread out over the first week. We had 1 million concurrent players. You know what I mean? Like, they hype it up. Like, no, this legitimately had. I think their previous cap was like 350,000 or 400,000, and there was queues. Like, I would try to get in, and I just had to wait. It would just give me a countdown to 30 seconds, and then it would be like, well, no space. Here's 30 more seconds. So to the point where the developer was like, hey, you don't have to buy it this week. Like, let us figure this out. And then, but when we let you know to purchase it, you can buy it. I rarely hear people say, turn out money. They're like, we ain't got the space. You gotta chill out. You're doing too much hell diving right now. So I'm loving it though. Like, you definitely should check it out. I think it has a long tail, and it's something you could pick up and put down, because I'm about to put it down because Final Fantasy VII drops on Thursday, on Elite Day. Same day as the Matthew Hill episode. Please check that out. Matthew Hill is the CEO of We Gonna Learn Today, is the biggest Black history website. So definitely check him out. Check out the episode. It drops on the leap day, the 29th. And then Final Fantasy VII is going to take my life over. They say it's like a good 80 to 120 hour game if you do everything. I'm not. I'm going to mainline it.
I was gonna say you don't ever do everything though. Like you're like, hey, mainline, see what I get out of that. Like if that's 10
Like I
hours,
said, that's 80 to 90 hours
to
just to
mainline it?
mainline it. And Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time. It's the game that got me into RPGs. It's my favorite PlayStation game of all time. And the end game looks like the CGI from when we were kids. Like the characters look like CGI. It is amazing. The detail, like they use Unreal Engine to do it. I don't know if you've seen it, Chris. Like it is a
I saw
Final
it.
Fantasy dream.
I saw all the not so safe for work stuff too. It was like, oh my god, or the
I haven't seen that yet.
oh my gosh, these guys are just there's stay away from that stuff, please.
These people are not real. Stop
The
making
PC
them.
versions, the PC versions of these games, you get third party hands on it. They'll just
Right.
the mod community. I'll let the audience decide. Like imagination goes that way. Goes sideways.
People, leave my childhood alone. Leave it alone. All right. But no, I'm super excited. I'm gonna grab it day one. I'll probably preload it in the next couple of days because it's a massive game. I'm gonna have to delete something. Shannon, what am I gonna delete?
Horizon.
Yeah, it's gone.
Horizon.
It's gone. I'm gonna get to it one day. It won't be any of these days coming up. And I don't know why, man. Like I like the lead character and Alloy. I like the it's amazing looking. It's got the dystopic future thing happening. I just cannot get into that game. I don't know.
Was it you that sent me that video of the guy he has to free up space on his console, and Aloy was the one that had to go? So like,
Right. He made the pledge to her that he's gonna finally play the game. It's like he's talking to her, and she looks just like Aloy too. That's pretty good casting or whatever. And then Spider-Man pops up, and he's like, "Hey, bro." He's like, "I'm sorry, I gotta make room for Spider-Man. I gotta do it." But in my case, it's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I am super excited. I love all things Final Fantasy VII related. So this is a dream come true. It only took 25 years to make it look how I think it looked in my brain. It's crazy. So super excited about that. And then I'm going to start watching, like you suggested, live action Airbender. I'm going to check that out. I do feel like a poser though. Like I should have watched the cartoon first. My kids weren't interested in it, even though it looked great. I don't know.
My children never watched it either. Like it was me. Like, and again, I didn't watch everything, but I know enough. You know what I mean? So like if you like, I'm waiting for somebody to do a side by side comparison of like the live action and the animated characters to see how good that casting is. Because as I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, and that's how I remember him looking in the animated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's why I'm like, if it's AI, I'm not surprised. Like that casting was too good. You know?
Right. But yeah, I'm super excited about that as well. And then there's a movie. I got to see if it's for rent yet. It's Talk to Me or something like that. It's a scary joint by A24. They always make the really good horror thriller ones. It's basically they have a hand or something of a cadaver, and if you hold it, you could talk to the dead people or whatever. But it was rated one of the scariest movies of last year. So I'm just like, yes, give it to me. Give me all the scariness. I can't wait. So I'm gonna check that out probably tonight.
What does that entail?
Oh, and Halo.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Scary? Nothing is truly like the Poltergeist or the Exorcist. They can't like we just can't suspend our disbelief. It's the being able to bake in the jump scares and give you the suspense is the best they can do. Because you're never gonna get the girl running down the stairs backwards. That's still scary. To this day. You're never gonna get another Exorcist. It's just not possible. But you can get people to pull them into a scene and then do the jump scare. You know what I mean? Like get them invested and then kill the person you like. Like you could do that. So I'll take it. And then Halo. So Halo season 2 is back out, and it's better. So still, it's okay. I wouldn't say. I would say it's like a 7.
I didn't
They're
really hear good things about the first season. I don't know.
first season only had like 2 or 3 great episodes, and then the rest were
Mhm.
very mediocre. This season they're trying to do the opposite. And right now they're kind of doing the Fall of Reach, but their own version of it. And people are mad, like because Master Chief takes his helmet off. But if you pay a real actor to play Master Chief, he's not going to be rocking the helmet all day. Sorry, it's not a video
Yeah.
game. But so far in the Fall of Reach, he doesn't have the armor on either. They are really leaning into the fanboys on this one. I'm like, it's the Master Chief running around. And it's one of the best storylines, plot lines from the Halo franchise. And he's not in the armor. He's just running around. I'm like, people are upset. Like, you can at least put the armor on him. So he's trying to get to his armor, is basically where I'm at currently. I don't know if he, I assume he gets to it and then he starts wrecking shop. But they make the bad guys scary again. Like, remember when you play Halo and you would run into an elite with a sword? That would be terrifying. You'd be like, uh-oh. He might kill me. And then it got less scary as you got through Halo because Master Chief was OP. It's a power fantasy. In the show, he has limits. Like, he could take on 2 or 3 of these guys, but more of those, they whooping on the Chief. So I think it's good. I think they're doing a good job. And the dude that plays, I can't remember his name, the actor's name, but he is built like Master Chief. He is a humongous human being. Like, they show him on the set, stand next to regular people, and he's like, remember Game of Thrones, the mountain standing next to him?
Just like
It's
that.
it's like that. Like, this dude is humongous. So I'm like, you did great casting. Like, you did a good job there. But people want what they want. They don't want you to make a new story. They want you to like make a movie out of what I played, and that's just not how it works.
Mhm.
Like, that's not, and that wouldn't be a good adaptation. Like, you would already know what's coming up. Like the Last of Us, one of the greatest video game adaptations of all time. It played with the story a little bit. Like, people were like upset, like, oh, the girl doesn't look like the right girl and stuff like that. They steady winning awards. Like, people love that show. Like, I love that show. I thought they did a great job, but you can't do it a 1-for-1 adaptation because
Mhm.
then it wouldn't like I could just play the game.
Curious to see how they'll adapt the second season. Because I wasn't a fan of Last of Us 2 in terms of some of the choices they made. But
It's gonna piss people off. It's gonna be our red wedding because we already know that.
we know what's going to happen. But I think they can definitely, for that character, they can get us to get to the point where we like that additional character, right? To the same levels we like Ellie, right? Because it's like, because you can't just just shift and change up. If you got, I don't want to do spoilers, but you can't just do a 180 on the in TV. It's just too jarring. I think HBO is going to knock it out. I think they're going to do a good job.
I think what they're going to do, like, this is me, because there's a third game potentially going to come out. They've already, Neil Druckmann, the director of the Last of Us series, Naughty Dog alum, and he's a showrunner on the show. He's alluded to there might be a part 3 to The Last of Us. So I think they're going to stretch, not in a bad way, but they have to. The Last of Us Part 2, the game, when they adapt it to the series, I think it's going to be at least 2 seasons on HBO. I don't think they're going to do a 1 season because they have to sit. There's synergy there. If you want to sell this video game as well as you want people to be happy with the series, because like me and they're not going to be happy with some of the decisions they're going to make. You can't do it in 1 season. They're going to have to do it over 2 seasons. They're going to have to give the people what they want, and they're going to have to make time for the Naughty Dog team to start building this game. So it's going to be at least 2 seasons to adapt the second game.
So doesn't HBO already have a history? Well, doesn't HBO already have a history of going forward before the source material comes out? They did it with Game of Thrones. George R.R. Martin hadn't written before they wrapped it up in their series, so they have a history.
And look how happy we are about that.
Okay, you might be on to something. I never read the books. Like, I never read the books, so I don't know. And I
didn't read the books either.
Yeah.
But the ending of that season was trash. So I can only imagine people who read the books were even more upset.
Oh yeah.
You took me, what was it, 8 seasons? 8 seasons to get here? Man, get out of my face. I tell people, I legitimately tell people who have not watched it, they're like, hey, should I watch Game of Thrones? I'm like, no. I literally
Wait a
tell
minute.
people I don't watch that.
And it's
Wait a
crazy.
minute.
People are still like,
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, like, even the people I know people that hated the original Game of Thrones, they're still watching House of the Dragon. I'm like, you're still watching House of the Dragon, dude. Get out of
I did
here.
watch it. It was pretty good.
It wasn't bad, but like, it's like, yeah, fake hater, you still love it.
And then when the Jon Snow show comes on, I'm watching that too.
Oh yeah,
But no,
HBO's
Shannon.
got
So
you.
I told you before I knew. Like I told you before it concluded. Had I seen the end of season 8, I'd be like, don't watch that. Don't even get invested.
You got me in there early though, so like I think they were only on like season 4 or 5 or something like that.
It was great.
Yeah, you were like, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch through the Red Wedding, and like, and I've said it before on the show, and I've told you like, it, by the time it got to that point, I was like, this is old hat for me. Like, I'm used to stuff like this happening in this series, so I wasn't as thrilled about it as other people were. I was gonna say, wait a minute now, when did this turn for you? Because you were recruiting hard for them.
It legitimately turned to season 8. Like even season 7 was good. Like you saw that they were going somewhere. You're like, oh man, the season 8 is going to be epic. They're talking about making movies out of the last season, and then I think it was either budget or something happened. Like aside from the books not being written, I think there was a decision made. Like it's okay to land it the way we're going to land it because there's so much more stuff that we have planned. It's fine. What they didn't know that the blowback was going to be as hard as it was. Like,
oh yeah,
that was bad. Like, you could have just delayed it. Like, instead of doing what you did there. Like, I get you can't wait for this dude to finish his books. He still hasn't finished his books. Like, he's unreliable in that regard. But that's fine. Like, that's for the book readers. Like, for us, you should just did a better job.
But then you run the risk of losing actors at that point. You run the risk of losing actors that are
with a delay.
So like it happened because of the writer's strike. So like what's his name? Oh man, for Invincible. Guy that plays Mark.
Oh, Stephen Yeun.
So like for him, he had to drop out of was it Thunderbolts? Was it Thunderbolts he had to drop out because of the commitment? So because of the writer's strike, it delayed some stuff, and he had commitments elsewhere. Like you'd run into the same thing, and some of them actors are old too. Like they may not be around anymore in like 3 years, stuff like that. So I think they were just like, we got to make it happen. Let's go ahead and do it. Get these contracts knocked out, wrapped up, and be done.
It wasn't dissatisfying because it wasn't well written, because it was not well written. It was dissatisfying because it felt as though they ran out of time of some sort. Like there was a constraint. Either there was like, we're out of money, or we're out of time, or something. It was just so abrupt. Like they took their time to develop something, and then the last season they're just like rushing through. And that's not just that's an objective opinion, because no one liked it. I can't find anyone on social media that liked it. So unanimously you did a bad job. How? If you did so well beforehand, like no one died, because usually that happens. Like the person who's in charge of something dies or quits or bad blood. Like no, it was all the same showrunners, all the same writers, all the same everything. So there had to be some kind of truncation. Like this has to stop here because of something out of their control. And I don't know what that. I still haven't said what that was, but you could tell something happened. You're just like, what? That's terrible. But that's enough from the Game of Thrones podcast. All right, like can't keep beating that dead horse. We all know it was bad. But no, like so I think Halo is not going to satisfy everybody, but it's okay. Especially to be only on Paramount. It's not on a big network like HBO, or it's not on TV like ABC. It's only for people who have the streaming service. I don't think it has to be amazing. It just has to be good enough. And I think it's good enough. So if you're a Halo fan, I'd suggest watching it. I don't know if it's going to make it past 3 or 4 seasons. Because it's just good enough. You know what I mean? Like it's not at any point, at least not yet, it hasn't done anything where I'm like, oh man, they're really gonna turn this into a booming franchise. I think it's just we're keeping the IP alive, we're keeping people interested because we don't have a game for them yet. And then when we do, we'll probably wrap up this TV show. So I'm gonna play Final Fantasy VII.
I finished the first season, so like if it has a tie-in to where you have to know stuff from the first season, I'm probably not gonna. I'm gonna be
No,
lost anyway.
like it was so jarring. The way the second season starts is so jarring. I was like, did I miss an episode? So you do not have to watch the first season. I mean, I think you've watched enough of the first season to understand uh, enough of the characters to move forward. You don't have to finish the first season because it doesn't like that last episode is just weird. You're just like, what are you doing? So then on the first episode of the second season, they're like about that jump forward or they skipped or they it's a weird thing where I was just like it confused me enough where I had to pause it and be like, did I miss the episode? I was like, oh, I guess they just don't care about this anymore. Okay, click back to play. So they listened to the fans and they ripped it out. So, but I think that pretty much wraps up this episode. So definitely continue to tune in, people. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit up all the social medias. You can now read, watch, and listen to us on all the platforms and all the formats. So thank you, AI. And then definitely share us with your friends. Give us a good rating on your platform of choice, or just a rating in general, just so we can get some feedback and get us out there in all the socials. And then you can hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, and the company TikTok. I don't have a TikTok. And you, Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn under Chris Abacon, last name spelled A Bacon.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.